welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Welcome everybody to Wholesale Hotline number 115. This one, guys,
Damn, 115?
Absolute free-for-all. This is going to be question and answers because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions coming off of the incredible summit over the weekend. But before we get into that, remember, guys, as you are building your real estate business, it comes down to three parts: lead generation, conversion of those leads into a signed agreement, and then exit strategy. Okay? Those are the three parts. That's why we have three hosts of the show. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP. I am joined by Pace Morby, Mr. Subto. He's talking about conversion. I'm talking about lead generation. And of course, we have America's number one, number three, whatever. Number one in our hearts.
Number one fucking wholesaler in the planet.
There you go, right there. We're talking about exit strategy, Jamil Damji. So we are excited here. We've got a lot of energy coming off of this weekend, and we are ready to answer questions. So let's just get it out of the way, guys. How was the summit?
I mean, the Subto summit?
Yeah.
It was a
Subto takeover.
Yeah, it was on it was incredible.
Yeah.
First and foremost, shout out to Cody Sperber,
Yep.
Cole Hatter for putting on what I think is the most electrifying event in all of real estate and entrepreneurship.
Sure.
And then shout out to the Subto community, the Astro community for showing up. I mean, legit showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Pace isn't going to toot his own horn because it's not his style,
Sure.
but I'm going to toot it here. Shout out to Pace. Shout out to Pace for building a community like Subto and then showing me how to do that with the Astro flipping community, because you saw the power of it. You saw the power of what a community gelled together in common goal.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, the result.
Yeah.
The result of what that looks like. And it was phenomenal. It was like nothing I have ever experienced in my life. I'm just grateful that I had an opportunity to be there.
Awesome. Pace, your thoughts?
It was one of the most special moments of my life. I mean, the day I spoke was Friday. I spoke a couple different times, but I spoke on Friday. My full first keynote was 40. We ended up going about a little over an hour because I brought a magician on stage with me. And before I went on stage, somebody said my name to the audience, and you could hear it back in the green room. It was so loud and so unbelievable. Somebody walked over to me and they go, "I've never heard somebody more supported in all of my years of speaking ever on stage." And that meant the world to me, just everybody that showed up and supported. And ultimately it was a Subto summit. It was, a good, 30% of our Subto students showed up. A lot of them have known each other for 2 years.
Yep.
And have seen each other on thousands of hours of Zooms. And then ultimately we're able to hang out with each other and love on each other. And we walked through the hotel. Man, it was great. Somebody also told my wife, they go, Pace and Jamil are like the Beatles, like John Lennon and Paul McCartney walking through the hotel. In fact, after 3 days of it, finally, our crew, we were like, hey, we want to take a little bit of a break. And somebody in our crew goes, we're going to have to leave the hotel.
Yeah, we'd have to leave the hotel. And even then it wasn't we still were, anywhere we went, it was anarchy.
Yeah.
It was, and we loved it. And somebody said,
Yeah.
how are you doing? Like, this is a lot. And I go, dude, this is energizing me to no end. And all it does is motivate me to want to do more. And it was special. The talk I gave was great. And I told a story I've never told anybody before, even my wife. And my wife found out some things on stage that I've never said before. That was cool. And then the coolest part is that somebody in our audience who has been a loyal listener of Wholesale Hotline for, basically the last year and a half, ended up winning my 30-day challenge. And she is going to get me and my wife and my family to move out to Tacoma, Washington for 30 days.
Awesome.
To build her business with her. And what I decided to do is I'm going to turn it into a board game that anybody else can follow. It's going to be a 30-day advance to the next level board game that we're going to create. I'm going to rent a big Airbnb, and I'm going to use that as my office. And then I'm going to get a big vinyl printout that's 10 by 15 and print it out as the board. And every morning I'm going to live stream all right, here's where we are. Here's where we've advanced. And then essentially allow everybody else to follow along with us for 30 days straight. And just live stream exactly what I would do if I was brand new in the Tacoma, Washington area. It is Robin Hurt. Here she is, Robin 3 on One Investments LLC.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Crazy, right?
Wow, that is a great. Was this random?
Yeah.
It was random, yeah.
Holy
The magician,
Robin,
bro, it was special.
congratulations.
Flipping a coin,
Yeah.
and it kept going back and back, and it lands on Robin.
Oh my gosh, incredible.
What was incredible is I gave the list of everybody that submitted their name, and I told Vinny, the magician, he has a show on the Strip, and he's stumped Penn and Teller multiple times, right? It's like that level of an illusionist, a mentalist, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he comes on stage, and I give him the list, and he says, I know who it is. And I'm like, how do you know who it is? He goes, well, here you go. And he gives me a letter, has the name of the winner inside of the letter. And he says, hold it against your chest. Don't show it to anybody. And then he goes through this exercise, and he basically dwindles a 2,000 person audience down to one person over the course of about 8 minutes. And it ends up being Robin. And he then says, open the letter. And it says Robin Hurt on the letter. And it was magic. It was absolutely magic.
And Robin was there, obviously.
Robin, yeah, of course. You had, in order to win, you had to physically be there. And so Robin won. And here's why I'm thinking this is really special. I'm glad it worked out this way. There's so many names on there that I was actually hoping it was going to be, because I would have loved to gone to Hawaii. I would have loved to gone to Atlanta or Miami or New York or somewhere cool that my family could hang out with. But it couldn't have gone to somebody more deserving. And also, I think that the story that Robin Hurt has is very similar to a lot of other people that are trying to get into wholesale real estate.
Sure.
Robin had paid for seminars and other mentorships years prior. And there was just something missing. There was something missing between, paying for the mentorship and listening to what she's, consuming from her mentors, and then essentially how to get the rubber to hit the pavement. That's what's been missing this whole time. And so I want to show the audience what that difference is and what we would do different. And essentially, here's what I'm going to do every day of those 30 days. I'm going to, meet with Robin at our office, wherever that ends up getting decided. And could be at my Airbnb, could be at a WeWork or something for 30 days, could be at a Starbucks, depending on how we decide to do this. Because I want to make this attainable for other people as well. I don't want people to go, oh, Pace came out of the gates swinging and hired 85 VAs and, started pumping PPC. So he had 5,000 leads. And of course he did deals in a week. I can't do that. So I'm trying to craft the perfect 30-day challenge that so many other people can adopt. But every morning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Robin, what are the 5 things we need to focus on? And I'm going to have her write those down. And then I'm going to write down the 5 things I want us to focus on, and I'm going to write them down. We're then going to exchange them to each other back and forth, sitting across the table from each other. And then we're going to compare. Why does Pace think we should do these 5 things? And why does Robin think we're going to do these 5 things? And you're going to see a dramatic night and day difference between those 2 things for probably about, 5 to 10 days. But as that kind of starts coming in sync, Robin then is going to go, oh my gosh, I get it. I see the money-making activities and I see the things that I've been wasting my time on. And I'm going to have anybody that wants to watch this live stream, watch it and participate like it's a video game or a board game rather. And so that was special for me doing something like that. I don't think anybody in this industry has ever done what I'm going to do. And, you know, Jamil's probably going to come live in Tacoma with us for a week or so, and we'll do some meetups and we'll do some fun things in Washington. Jamil, do you have a franchise up there in the Seattle area?
We've got people in the Pacific Northwest. I really want to go to Oregon. There's so much in that. I might stay a little longer than a week if you'll have me. I might come out for a couple weeks and kick it out there because I you know, I'm Canadian, right? It's practically
Close.
It's practically Canada up there, and there's just parts of the country I'd like to see students and supporters of our movement that I want to go out and visit, and so I think it'll be great. And you know, possibly if you guys get into any agent work, maybe I can help on that part.
Yeah.
Is this wholesale? Is this Subto? Is this flip? What are we looking for?
He's got we've been
in
talking
my
about
mind. In my mind there is no difference. And here's in my mind. I still wholesale, right? I know that people go, oh, Pace is all about the Subto and the seller find. Guy, I wholesale the Subto deal this morning. Like we wholesale Subto deals. I don't go after different lead types. I go after motivated sellers. It doesn't matter if it's a cash or creative transaction. I've got an Astro student tonight. Okay. Her name is Jamil. You'll know her. Her name is Sarah Miller.
The best.
Sarah Miller has not gotten her first deal yet.
Yep. She's been working really hard though.
She is working hard.
Going hard.
She brings a lead to me the other day. And she says, I've got a lead that I would consider a dead lead. The seller wants too much money. And I go, perfect. Doesn't mean you can't wholesale that to me if I can work out the terms. Let me talk to the seller. So tonight, right after Wholesale Hotline, I, of course, will be recording this call for my students. But I'm talking to Sarah Miller seller for the third time. And this third time is, let's just work out the details.
Amazing.
We like what we're hearing. Sarah Miller, who went to you to learn how to wholesale, is wholesaling her first deal that's a seller finance and Subto. It's a hybrid. She's got a complicated deal that she's wholesaling as her first deal. So at the end of the day, it comes down to the same thing Brent said at the beginning of the show. Finding distressed property owners, having quality conversations with them, and figuring out the right way to convert them into whatever bucket, and then dispositioning those. And that's what Sarah Miller is doing tonight. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach everybody how to set up the same exact lead processes that I learned when I was a TTP student. I'm going to say, I'm going after motivated sellers. And as those motivated sellers come to me in those 30 days, I will then show you guys how I go, oh, this is a creative bucket, or this is a cash bucket. This is a creative bucket. This is a cash bucket. But either way, we're just going after motivated sellers. That's all there is for it.
Yeah, with any leads that we talk to, we go cash, 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 and then maybe creative. It depends.
Right.
I don't want to hold on to creative deals that are not in good areas. I don't. And this is just something that is personal to me, because it's just, I don't want to have to manage those type of things. But we always go cash, cash, cash first, and then try to get creative. We look for properties that have big equity to get big incomes, big checks. We have a saying, ugly houses, big checks. That's what you got to focus on your first 12 months. Ugly houses, big checks, because a lot of us are not starting out in this business full time. A lot of us have responsibilities. A lot of us have kids. A lot of us have older parents. A lot of us have rent or car payments or student loans or credit cards or whatever else. And to be able to really let loose in this business, we got to go full time. And that's the first thing that happens once you get these big checks coming in, is it opens up your schedule, which opens up your attention, which opens up your opportunities. So I'll tell you what, just to transition back real quick, Robin Hurt, not a TTP student, but has physically been over to my house with her husband, brought me some pies. They were absolutely delicious. Has been to the office. I love her. Congratulations, Robin. This is going to be life-changing for her. Yeah, for sure. Where's the bell? There it is. There we go.
We got a few. Yeah. And then on top, hold on, keep that bell. We also at Clever Summit got to shave John Gallan's beard, who's been a Wholesale Hotline supporter.
Yep.
He got his first deal done, and we
That
shaved
was
his
really
beard
cool.
live. So you can bring one for him too. Yeah, baby.
So before we jump into the rest of the show, if you guys don't mind, one of the biggest motivations for me doing the 30-day challenge is this comment right here. Alan Knowles says some of Pace's best lessons were taught in the hallway of his office on the wall. Do you guys remember any of those that time in my journey?
Sure do.
Of course. I mean, there was a time where you had the office next to me in this building.
That's right.
Remember that?
Yes.
That was a brief moment, right?
It was, yeah.
But
It was,
yeah, you had the big wall, you had the lights around it. We would get on the whiteboard. It's fantastic.
It was great. We used to do this. We had this Mace office simultaneously at the same time. We had a Mace office that we had this really long 100-foot hallway, and we ended up putting a 26-foot whiteboard in that hallway. We had it custom made. It was as long as we could get it made to fit on the wall between two doorways. And I would take people on these Prius rides for years, and it got to a point where it was so many more people needed the help. And I wasn't a coach. I wasn't a mentor at the time. So we used to just invite people over to the office and then have taco parties in the parking lot. And all it would be was me breaking down on the whiteboard people's deals and why this was this, and go do that. And let's call the seller and let's do this. And so many people like Alan remember back in those days. It wasn't too long ago. I'd say 4 years ago, but I miss those days. I crave, I'm standing on set with Jamil, or I'm on Wholesale Hotline with, me, you, and Jamil Brent.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there with you guys, and I'm like, man, I just want to be next to some of these people and teach them and like walk them through the fire myself. It's just more my teaching style. I want to be out in the field. So I'm looking at this 30 days as a vacation for my family to go out and explore a new part of the country. My wife and kids are coming with me. And of course, my wife and kids aren't going to be working the business with me. I am looking forward to getting away from all the distractions that all these opportunities that come from, the TV show and all the other businesses that we're all running. They really should be there because you have to scale, right? You start with wholesale and you start with your first deal. Next thing you know, you own title companies. Next thing you know, you own other businesses. Next thing you know, we have now 725 employees between all of our businesses. And the last thing that I have time for is being in front of a whiteboard and breaking down deals. So I'm looking forward to like disconnecting from all of my businesses here locally and bringing all that value back in a very organic state. So my plan, give me 20 more seconds, is I'm going to be doing one of those big whiteboard sessions every single weekend in Tacoma, Washington. So anybody that's in Oregon or Washington, anywhere you guys want to converge on the weekends into that town, I will be doing whiteboard sessions and calling sellers and doing all that kind of stuff and taking a break from Robin and my business on the weekends and only work on Robin and my business for Monday through Friday, and then hang out and do the whiteboard sessions and go door knocking and just give value to people in that part of the woods. And Jamil and I imagine are going to do a whole bunch of meetups, and maybe we can get Brent Daniels to fly up for the day and we can do a 3-way Wholesale Hotline meetup.
So let's talk about that. So we're hoping July. A&E has been giving us a heads up that our filming might get pushed a little bit. So we'll keep people posted, but it'll be the summer.
Nice.
Speaking of going places, Pace, we're in Idaho next week.
Monday.
What's the date?
So I just posted on Instagram stories, guys. We are going to 4 different cities. So we're going to be in, by the way, shout out to Teresa Wilson, got her first tattoo today of her whole life. She's 44 years old. She got her first tattoo, and it's the Subto logo on her wrist.
Amazing. You got a tattoo, bro.
She said,
hold on a second. Wait, ring the bell. He got his first tattoo.
It's a woman, Teresa. So shout out to her. So guys, on my stories, go ahead, Brent.
If you get a tattoo, if somebody gets a tattoo of Pace's Pace's face on their body, I will let you come in here and blow off that blowtorch. This monster right here. Inside.
Oh my God.
The studio.
Inside the studio? No, everyone said the producers are saying no.
Well, we have $500,000 in equipment in this room. What are you talking about? So guys, if you want, go look on my Instagram stories. I've got like a little green story and it has 4 dates on it. Jamil and I are going to be in Boise, Idaho, a week from today. We're going to try and set up a little Wholesale Hotline live where Jamil and I are going to be sitting there, doing that. Then we've got on 5/4. So this would be Wednesday, Houston, guys. We're doing Houston. And then we're going to be doing Austin on Thursday and then Dallas on Friday. And so we don't know where we're doing these meetups yet. We're working behind the scenes, but I just want to let you guys know that we will be doing meetups after 5 o'clock on all 4 of those dates. Boise, Idaho will be 5/2, so May 2nd. Houston will be May 4th. Austin will be May 5th. And Dallas will be May 6th.
Awesome. But you guys will be on the hotline.
We'll be on the hotline, and then we will go do our meetup.
Nice.
Yep.
What's in Idaho?
Idaho. Well, Keegley has a corporate store out there, and Pace loves Idaho and has a bunch of students out there, and I've got some students out there, so we're gonna go have some potatoes.
Well, and Pace, just to what you were touching on, my dream is on Mondays when the hotline's going, when you guys are available, and we have the big studio with the audience being able to be there.
A live audience.
A live audience for Wholesale Hotline.
Yes.
Coaching before, coaching after, the whole thing every Monday. It's going to be bananas. So
I would love that.
If you're local or want to fly in, or maybe there'll be tickets, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Wholesale Hotline's about to go insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's about to turn into the Ellen show.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it'll be great. And we'll bring on guests and people will come in. We're gonna take it to the next level. Next level. By the way, 103,000 downloads of the podcast, guys. We have 455 written reviews or reviews on there. If you guys are enjoying it, if you're getting a lot of value out of the podcast, please go there. I would love to get it to 1,000, 2,000 and really blow it out for the Wholesale Hotline podcast.
Joshua Allen, thank you for doing that. We were trying to snap a picture with Robert Kiyosaki, and his body and his mind weren't in the same place. And so Joshua helped us get Robert.
Jamil just went for it, guys.
Get Robert together so we could take that beautiful photo. And it was amazing.
Oh, that's so good.
Boise in the house. Preston's ready for you.
Boise is going to be boisterous.
I used to live in Idaho.
Make sure that you are posting them here. Somebody asked, once you get your contract, once you get a property under contract, do you open up escrow right away? Yes. Send it to the title company. Don't just wait until you get it assigned. Get it to the title company. Let them start their work. Okay? Let them start their work.
Immediately.
Yep.
And
we do it right there.
Last week, I had 4 deals that I funded where people reached out to me and said, I need earnest money. The seller, actually, a couple of people said my seller called the title company and asked if my earnest money had been dropped, and we loaned them money for their earnest money. So guys, if you need earnest money for that kind of stuff, I think a lot of wholesalers don't open escrow because they have earnest money on their contract that they sometimes can't afford. And they're like, I'll open escrow when I have my buyer, and then my buyer will bring the earnest money. So don't let that be the case. I know Jamil has some opportunities for you guys on earnest money things and proof of funds as well. But immediately we open escrow. And here's what happened. 10 days ago, I'm on a Zoom with my students. I get a call from Magnus Title. Magnus Title says, hey, is this Pace Morby? Yes. How can I help you? Pace, we have a memorandum on a property from 2 years ago that just popped up, and the seller's trying to sell it to somebody else. Guys, I put a memorandum on my properties. You guys may or may not agree with me on this, but I've just learned that the smart thing to do when I'm walking through a contract with the seller is to tell the seller, I'm so serious about fulfilling my obligation and my promise to you on these numbers and this date that I'm going to let the world know on public record. And I'm going to immediately open up escrow, put in my earnest money, and I'll send you a receipt of everything. So I put in a memorandum, I open escrow, and I fund my earnest deposit within typically 12 hours because I want to show how serious I am just in case that seller tries to go and sell to somebody else. I want to be able to show proof that I was serious about that contract so that my intention or my professionalism never comes under scrutiny?
This question by Earth Baby gives me anxiety. And I really want to dive into this one. So the question from Earth Baby is, and I hope I'm saying this right, what can I do or what action can I take if I don't have a buyer on closing day? So, Earth Baby, first and foremost, if you don't have a buyer on closing day, lots of things happened.
Yep.
Right? Lots of things happened. You should never be at closing day and in a situation where you don't know what you're going to do, first and foremost. So let's back it up a little bit. What could have been done sooner? Typically, you should know, or you should be able to sell your wholesale contract in a week at the longest. And if it's taking you longer, then you have a couple of problems. The first one is you haven't squatted up with people who could have buyers.
Yep.
You're not working with a Keegley or an Astro or TTP or Subto or somebody that can help you with getting this deal across the finish line. Secondly, you very likely locked up the deal too high. Okay, so you have an underwriting problem, right? Because if you are unable to sell your contract, then the problem is that you're probably into that contract for too high. And that could just be a factor of the condition. Maybe you ran your numbers wrong. Maybe you ran your comps wrong. Maybe the comp you used is a completely irrelevant comp and your buyers who are savvy aren't buying it. And so that could be the issue. But here's the thing. If you get to closing day and you still don't have action and you have a seller who's expecting a check and a conveyancing or a closing, and you all of a sudden can't perform, that's probably one of the most irresponsible situations you can be in, because you should have communicated with your seller much sooner than that. That's the reason why I always tell people, before you start this business, learn to underwrite. Okay, learn to underwrite so that you can stop breaking hearts. And I mean yours and the sellers. Okay, learn to underwrite. Now,
what does that mean?
Learn how to evaluate what a deal is versus what's not a deal. Learn the rules.
What if you got an action taker that finds somebody that can help them with that in the market?
So if there's somebody that's helping you with that, then great. Amazing. If you haven't learned how to underwrite, squat up with somebody who has.
Like a real estate agent.
An agent.
Or
yeah, I mean,
wholesaler,
a real estate agent
investor
may or may not be able to help
Maybe
you.
an Astro flipper.
An Astro flipping student would be very good to go to. Even a Sub2 student would be very good to go to. A lot of Sub2 students tune into my Straight Outta Compton show and learn how to underwrite, and they learn how to underwrite from you. A lot of our students your students are very, very competent at underwriting. Just squat up with somebody from Wholesale Hotline. Squat up with someone who's gone through the process of learning how to underwrite, learning how to value property. Okay?
Hey, producers inside the studio, can you guys change the camera angle to have Jamil a little bit more centered, or have Jamil scoot over?
He's just over. He's moving.
You know me.
You got one arm hanging off the screen and you're spitting fire, bro. I want to see the whole dragon over there. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you helping me make sure that my reels stay on point, because I definitely chopped these up.
Come on, bro. You knew exactly what I was doing.
And by the way, guys, you really want to make sure. So, but again, getting to this closing date and not having this properly dispositioned and is a problem, right?
Yeah.
So within a week, if you don't have your deal figured out, if you don't have a buyer, what you got to do is come to terms with the hard conversation that you're about to have to make. And that's talking to the seller, about your lack of understanding of the numbers. Okay. And you can be honest. You can say, look, I ran my numbers wrong. This doesn't make sense. I'm still in my due diligence period. And that's what a due diligence period is for me to do due diligence. In due diligence, what a buyer is supposed to do is run their numbers, is supposed to run their, get their construction estimates, figure out, does this deal make sense for me or not? And you are well within your right to have an honest conversation with the seller to say that at this price, this deal doesn't make sense to me. And maybe there's an opportunity for a renegotiation. Maybe there's just an opportunity for a cancellation and a handshake. Whatever that is, be forthright with your seller so that they aren't strung along to a closing date, because a lot of these contracts have 30-day closes. Can you imagine if for 30 days you think you're about to sell a property, you start packing up, you move, you got a U-Haul ready, maybe you go rent a place, maybe you go and
your utilities turned off,
so many things, many things. I mean, waiting for closing day. I have seen lives destroyed because of that one thing. So the reason I'm being so heavy about my response here in Earth Baby, it's not a way. I'm by no means saying that you're doing this.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you asked this question because I wanted to call it out as we should never get there.
Yeah.
Hope that helped.
And he's speaking to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Not just Earth Baby.
Brent,
Yeah.
this is a great question for you, brother.
Yeah.
When is it the best time to start cold calling in the day?
Yeah, I love it. Listen, there's kind of a rule of thumb of if the sun's up, it's good, right? It just depends. I don't think before 7 a.m. you should be making calls. Some people do in some industries, but usually that's people's time to like get into their day, their meditation, their Zen, they're having their coffee, their whatever else. People are kind of warming up their brain, warming up their body in the morning. So I would say anytime after 7 a.m. or when the sun's up. That's the rule of thumb with that.
Monique's favorite time to cold call when she gets the majority of her answers is between the 2 hours of 7 and 9 a.m.
Yep.
Well, that is an interesting statistic.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Give me the reason why.
Well, I think that it's convenient to her.
Yeah.
First and foremost, it's when she will do it. So I think the most important thing to remember or to think about here is when will you actually consistently do it?
That's it.
For her, 7 to 9 a.m., she knows her babies are off to school. Her husband is doing what he's got to do in the day. She's in her house ready to hop on the calls and start dialing and be completely unaware, like non-distracted. Because for her business, title companies don't open till 9, right? Most buyers aren't going to try to be calling her. So her inbound calls are very low between 7 and 9 a.m.
Yep.
So she's not getting distracted a lot by other business that she has to take care of. She's so hyper-focused on the people that she's supposed to be talking to between those 2 hours that it's optimizing for her. Now, you might find a 2-hour period or a 3-hour period in your life that sounds like that. That's the best time to start cold calling for you.
She's also running a clock. So I called a lot of the same leads that Monique called, which is canceled, expired listings. And those are time sensitive because you call the ones that showed up that morning from the day before. So if you get there, get the appointment set and then educate the seller to say, hey, listen, I've already got it covered. I've already got it taken care of. That's why she's the master and she gets a lot of opportunities. So it's a little calling on listings is different than calling on just distressed property owners. Don't force yourself. Don't white knuckle it to do it at 7 a.m. if you're not going to be consistent. Like the word sustainable means a lot. Sustainable effort, sustainable action, sustainable schedule. If you are fitting this business into your life, it has to be sustainable. It has to give you energy. You have to be excited about the opportunity to reach out to people when you can find the time to do it. 20 hours minimum if you're part-time is the suggested amount of time. We have 168 hours every week. You can find 20 hours to invest into your dream of being a real estate entrepreneur, of being in control of your life once you build this business up and really make something special of it and use this as a cash machine to go and buy assets that are going to pay you year after year after year. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the control. We're talking about the attention. When you have the time to put your attention to this business and really focus and bring the energy to it, you cannot lose. It's just a matter of time before you have that one quality conversation with somebody that is ready to work with you that changes everything. And now you don't have to just live off of the faith that you can do it. You know that you can do it and you do it again and again and again. And that's how you build this and you start and you replace your income and then you actually build a business around this. And that's when things get really exciting.
Stephanie Vargas, everybody that's going to be coming to the meetups between Boise and anybody didn't hear, we've got Boise on Monday. We've got Austin on Wednesday, Houston on Thursday, Dallas on Friday of next week. We will be doing meetups. Jamil, our children welcome at our meetups.
Abso-freaking-lutely. You first and foremost, you must be new because if there's anything that the three of us love, it's children.
Yeah.
Okay. Pace has little babies crawling all over him. Brent has young bodies crawling all over him. I have no babies and I only have teenagers. And so I love hanging out with young kids too, because they're just the joy of my life. And so by all means, bring your young ones. It's family friendly. I might swear 1 or 2 times. I'll try not to if I see little people in the audience. But beyond that, that's about as PG as it gets. It is a wholesome, wonderful place for people to come. Wonderful place if you have children, for them to just get an understanding of what's this cool thing that mommy and daddy are doing, where all these fun people are getting together that are changing their financial destiny. So yes, please bring your children.
Brent Daniels, let me know. Let me answer this one really quickly. I want to hear what you teach on this one.
Love it.
Michael says the seller wants to be at the property every time I show it. But every day, someone new, one of my new buyers wants to look at it. How can I keep the buyer from getting mad every time? You mean the seller? How can I keep the seller from getting mad every time someone new wants to go out there? Here's what I did. When I would go out to my appointments, I was the best at this. I would take video as the seller walked me through. I would always say, are you okay with I take video? So we'd have to come to the property less. I take video in wide angle. I take video of the serial number of the air conditioning unit. I take a video of the serial number of the hot water heater. I find out the brands of the washer and dryers and all of the things inside the property. I find out the year of the roof. I find out any repairs that need to be done. And I take a video, not a photo, but a video so they can feel the walkthrough. Then as I'm doing the video, this is what I love about the iPhone. Maybe Android has this now too. But as I'm doing video, I can snap photos simultaneously on the phone, which is cool. I uploaded all the Dropbox. Guys, stop using Google Drive. Stop it.
Yeah, man.
Google Drive is trash. And so many people send me photos, like 35 photos in my DMs. Guys, invest $100 a year in Dropbox. It is so amazing.
So say that again.
Google Drive is trash for photos.
Well, and you know why too? For me, why Google Drive is the worst, because it requires people like 9 out of 10 times to get permission.
Yeah.
And log in, and you're creating friction. I just want to look at pictures. I don't. This shouldn't be like trying to go out on a date. Okay, this shouldn't be so hard. It's pictures.
Yeah.
So when you're buyer, here's the thing. This weeded out so many people for me as well. I would actually get my buyers. I'd go, hey, let me know specifically what you would like to see after you and your team watch this video. Because a lot of times, and there's no problem with this, but a lot of times the person you're actually walking through the property is not the real buyer. It's another wholesaler who's trying to daisy chain, which I have no problem with that, or co-wholesale, however you guys want to say it. Doesn't matter to me. I don't think there's a bad thing either way. But a lot of times you'll have people come into the property that have no intention of buying it. They're taking their own photos to send to their own buyer. And then 2 days later, like, hey, can I get my person in there? Guys, a video gets rid of 50% of that. And then, you know, Keegley probably does the best at this in terms of showing properties. But I'd love to hear, Brent, your answer on this, and Jamil, your answer on this. I think this deserves a little bit more breadth.
Yeah,
it's a great question.
Technical side of this business, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Brent?
So, well, first of all, you know, we sell a lot of the property sight unseen in our market. It's a really, really, really strong market. We do a great job, just like Pace was saying, video and pictures, right? And that really gives people the opportunity, because they know they need to make a decision quickly and they need to commit to this deal quickly, or they're just not going to get it in our market right now. Okay. But what I will say is we want anybody to see the property if they want to see it, if they're close on submitting their offer to us. And so what we do is we talk to Mr. or Mrs. Seller and we say, hey, listen, if we lock it up on Monday, we're going to say it's a Wednesday. It's usually 48 hours to 72 hours out. We say, listen, I need 2 hours and it's going to be a circus. I'm going to bring so many people through this, and then we're going to be out of your hair. Okay. So from 1 to 3, from 3 to 5, we're going to bring everybody through the house. It's going to be wild, but then we'll be out of your hair. And then we set it up and we make sure that if anybody wants to see it and we haven't accepted a contract yet, that they get in at that time and everybody goes through and it's done. Now, if you don't have that and you're having a conversation with the owner of this property, you need to stop lying to them. If you are assigning this, tell them, hey, listen, This is my network of buyers. This is my network of investors that I work with, and they want to come in and see if it's the right deal for them. That's what's going on here. And if they have a problem with that, something happened up front that you weren't telling them that you were going to assign this deal, or that you would close on this and then sell it, or whatever else it is. So one, you got to set up the upfront expectations. If you know that you're not going to be able to close on this and you want to assign this, tell them. And that you need to bring a ton of people through the house. Don't just go in and just say anything sweet and nice to them to get the deal locked up and then break their heart on the back end when you have 15 different people come through and not buy the house. First of all, you're probably asking too much for it. And that's why you got people coming through the house so many times. It should take one showing of a couple hours with all your buyers to get that deal sold if you have the right price.
That's great. I add to that. So everything that Brent said is great. Everything that Pace said is great. There was a trick that we've used at Keegley, a hack on how to get sellers on board with your buyers. Okay. And I don't use the term buyers. We use funding partners. Okay. So guys, if you are walking funding partners through a property, your buyer or your seller now knows that you're bringing somebody who's bringing money to the table for the property. That's enough.
That's good.
Right? A funding partner.
Yeah,
it's a
love it.
It's a great way to disclose to your seller what you're doing without really creating anxiety, right? And so we use the term funding partner. Secondly, when you show up, bring a cinnamon roll. You know, bring something nice to butter up the seller. I can tell you guys just how far that's taken us. We are in the professional business of
if you were my seller, what would I need to bring you, Jamil?
Well, chicken wings, of course, right?
What flavor? What flavor?
If you brought me chicken wings, or something, a maple syrup long boy, something that was just sweet, that showed that you had consideration for me. Call me and ask me if I want a coffee, and what I have trained our team to do is, when you are talking to a seller and you are going to let them know that you might come back, that you plan to come back 1 or 2 times during the next 7 to 10 days, to bring some people through, funding partners, possible contractors, depending on what our exit strategy is going to be. I at that point ask, what are your favorite treats? Do you like coffee? How do you take your coffee? Do you like cinnamon rolls? Are you diabetic? Is that a problem? I want to bring you something nice anytime I have to bother you. So tell me how I can make it sweet.
Love it.
And you don't understand how disarming that is. It's so disarming to people, because you've given them something, even if it's just a cinnamon roll, guys. You've been thoughtful. And going just that far with your thought really goes a long way, right? It really goes a long way. So try adding that into your mix of just being a sweet person and thinking about the person that you're going to be disturbing 1 or 2 times over the next 7 to 10 days, and bring them a treat for that intrusion. I want to say one more thing. You said we had 100,000 downloads? And only 455 reviews. Guys, think about the law of reciprocity. Okay, 100,000 of you have downloaded this podcast in the last month, and we are grateful for the downloads. But 455 of you have taken the time to actually leave us a review. So the universal law of reciprocity states that when you are gaining value from something, it's your obligation and responsibility to trade value in exchange. We don't charge for this podcast, but we do love sharing this and gaining more exposure for it. So if you would do us the favor and give us a review, it would be appreciated. Hit the like button. Please leave us a review on the podcast. It helps us. It helps grow the community.
It's a circular thing.
1,000%.
If you give, then you receive, and then you give, and then you receive, and then you give and receive and give and receive.
Always.
That's the law.
Absolutely.
It's in here. Receptivity. It's the 5th one. I'm telling you, this book will change your life, but that's the truth. That would be huge, guys. Go in there. 455 reviews, something like that. We can get to 1,000. We can get to 2,000.
There's 611 of you right now across platforms on this Wholesale Hotline live stream.
Yep.
And thousands more will listen to it afterwards.
Yep.
I'm hoping we at least spike to 900 by next week. Can we do that? Can we try, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Can we do this?
Let's do it. Love it.
Brent, this is probably a better question for you, to be honest. You cover this a lot more frequently.
Sure.
What's your take on cold calling and cold texting nowadays, considering the TCPA regulations? Do you ever think we should register with the National Do Not Call list and get a SAN number from them?
Every telecommunications attorney will tell you to do that. I'll just tell you that's the advice that I was given. I can't give you legal advice, but that is what every one of them has told me. So it takes no time at all. Easy peasy. Just get registered. It's really smart. Yeah.
Okay, that was easy.
And listen, if you don't want to do any of that and you just want to call commercial numbers, I mean, Jamil's been talking about it for 3.5, 4 years. Call real estate agents. They're commercial numbers. Call other wholesalers. Call other investors.
Right. There's no restrictions on calling businesses.
Right.
Right. People who advertise to do business with them, they do not. Oh, they're not a part of the do not call registry because they're in business. They advertise their number to be solicited for business, right? So if that is really something that you want to avoid,
click that link right
click
there.
the link right now under Brent Daniels' beautiful shoulders there on the screen.
There we go.
Click that link and you can leave us a review. It would be very helpful.
Yeah. Awesome.
I have to highlight something.
I like
real quick.
Pace without a hat, or I like Brent's muscles, or I like when Jamil swears.
Well,
whatever
you
it
literally
is,
just hit the stars thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, check this out. Check this out. Okay. Oh my gosh. Chrome doesn't want me to freaking share my screen. How stupid is that?
Come
Oh
on,
my gosh.
Google.
There's a guy that gave us a 4-star review, and this is what he says. Okay. It's phenomenal. He says, this is what he says. Hotline. This show brought me so much value and to me and my business. I expect my business to grow through the knowledge and wisdom they deliver. Keep it up. 4 stars.
4 stars.
Bro, what are you talking about?
How do we get 5?
How do we get 5?
You got to pop that top off, bro.
What the freak?
Is that what it is? I need to be nude. Is that you guys
just
need?
topless.
You need a nude damgee. Hey, real quick to the question. Hey, do your Keegley franchises not buy on market? Do, some don't, guys. The franchises are all independent businesses. Each and every one of them will have slightly different ways of doing business. One is not the same as the other. So reach out to multiple. If one doesn't do something that you're looking for, reach back out to us and we'll connect you with another franchise. That's the beauty of having multiple franchises in the same state.
Right.
Boom.
Boom. Let me ask you this. Because it was an interesting question about showing the property to your buyers. Out of the 100 deals that you do a month, what percentage do you lose because the sellers who are all these people? What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Access. Oh my gosh. Access is one of the most important parts of getting a wholesale deal to and across the finish line, right? Access is very important, guys. And if you aren't going to get access from your sellers and you need to JV, here's the thing. You're a wholesaler. You're talking to a homeowner. You get a deal under contract. You don't have the money to close, or you don't have a buyer lined up, or whatever your situation might be. If that's your situation, okay, you better have communicated to this seller that you're going to need access to this property. Otherwise, you have done nothing but shoot yourself in the foot. Because not only now do you have a contract that they're expecting to get closed, but you've completely stopped buyers from being able to get in there. So how many deals have fallen apart? Very few, because we're highly communicative. Right. Do sellers sometimes get upset? Yeah, it's a part of it, right? But we always do the best that we can to try to really massage that situation. So we're bringing them treats and, I don't have deals fall apart because we always communicate. Right. There's Pace.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I was trying to get my Google sharing settings fixed. I apologize for that. Did you guys ask me a question?
No,
we just used
why did they leave? Sorry, I was just trying to fix
we saw you
screen
go.
sharing.
I love it. Yeah, we don't have deals fall out because we're showing the property to the owner. It's all about upfront. It's all about communicating. It's all about, hey, listen, when is it convenient for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be convenient. You have to, like, there is so much customer service that doesn't get talked about in these transactions that it drives me crazy, because it's like, just like, well, you just better have a good personality and that's good enough. And it'll get the deal closed. No, you got to talk to these property owners all the time. You have to, constantly be updating them and letting them know that the problem that they have is going to be over soon. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And you bring that optimism and kindness to those conversations. It is true customer service. And if you have a team, your acquisition managers or whoever it is that's handling it, or transaction coordinator or whatever, has to be sweet and nice and patient and just really, really, really involved in these people for this period of time to get them through the finish line. You do that, not only will you get referrals from them of other people that are in similar situations, but the deal will get closed with a lot less hiccups. Customer service, guys, customer service, like, really treat them well. Have a lot of empathy for what they're going through, because some of these people they feel like life is against them. They feel like some things like outside of their control or like really preventing them from being happy or successful or taking care of their responsibilities. And you need to understand that and really hold their hand and get them through.
That's so important.
Yep.
And it's
that's what you did the best. I think that's why Keegley really took off, because there's companies that compete with you that are dog shit.
100%.
Dog shit.
100%.
The big ones out there that are terrible and take advantage of people and don't care about other wholesalers, don't care about the process, don't care. That's why you guys took over.
It's the heart of it, right? It's the thing that I believe that when Pace is talking to a seller, why he's always so, even when that conversation doesn't conclude into a contract, it's a great conversation because he's looking for the bunnies.
Yep.
Right? He's looking for ways to solve problems for people. And as a wholesaler, you have to be looking for ways to solve problems for your seller. As a dispo wholesaler, you have to be looking for ways to manage its transaction and get the deal across the finish line. You got to be creative. You got to bring solutions. I'm in a deal right now where I dispoed a deal for a wholesaler. Mm-hmm. Check this out. Wholesaler brings me a deal. They say, need to sell this. Great. We make $30,000. Mm-hmm. Okay. However, here's the problem. 2 days before close, we come to find out occupant's not going to leave. Mm-hmm. So as we had promised,
owner or tenant?
Both. It's an owner and a tenant in one of the rooms. They're not leaving. They've signed all closing documents. They've signed the settlement statement. The house is going into foreclosure. The auction is on the 26th. Mm-hmm. Okay. And we literally have to close.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it gets auctioned off.
Right.
So what are we going to do? Right. Thankfully, this wholesaler brought the deal to Keegley. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, because the buyer ran, and you know what? The buyer got their EMD back because they were told the house was going to be delivered vacant, and it's not. Okay, so they get their EMD back. Now we're on closing day. We're going to be on closing day in 2 days. What's going to happen? Right? Mm-hmm. So what are we doing? We're going to close the deal. Mm-hmm. We're going to evict or do cash for keys with the occupants.
Yep.
Then we're going to resell the property and split the proceeds with the wholesaler that brought us the deal 50-50. Yep. So again, this is why you want to work with established wholesalers, why you want to work with people with some resources, why squatting up is the way, because when you do that, you bring other people's knowledge, resources, and networks to the table.
Well, and I really think it's interesting. I talk to, a lot of people on DMs, not so much in the TTP coaching program, but people that have locked up deals and they're reaching out at the very, very end of this in these situations, and they're looking for somebody to come in and really help out and close these deals. And if it makes sense, we do. But you need to have the opportunity to close these deals and solve this problem at any time when something hits the fan at the very end. If there is a problem at the end, have the ability to close those deals. Either squat up with somebody that has the ability to, or do it yourself. Because do not just go, well, you know what? They're not getting out. I'll find another deal for $30,000.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Right.
It's $30,000 for like one conversation to somebody that has that money. Pick up the phone and talk to them. Pick up the phone and find somebody that's established that can come in as long as you got a smoking deal and close that deal. It's huge. There you go. Nathan's on you.
Nathan Wall asks, Jamil, can septic tanks change how you can market a house? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 4.3 that has a septic tank permitted for a 3.2. Can I still market the house as a 4.3 or will this negatively impact the deal? Nathan, so here's what's happened. Your 4.3 has an illegal addition. Okay, that's what it is. The illegal addition, they wouldn't have never allowed that addition to happen if they hadn't done an upgrade to the septic tank. So that septic tank's going to need an upgrade. Now, in certain states, like in the state of Arizona, you need a septic report that needs to be signed off on by all parties and agreed to by lenders prior to close of escrow. So it absolutely changes how you market a property because it's a material fact. You must disclose it. Your buyer might be okay with taking the property subject to it requiring a septic upgrade, but that's their prerogative and they need to be let known that that's coming down the pipe. So yes, Nathan, you must absolutely disclose it. You must explain this to your buyer. Hopefully you got the property at a price that was reflective of this issue, but it's not a deal breaker. It's a deal changer.
And
Remember
it gives
that.
you a great lever for negotiation.
100%.
A great lever. Good luck putting that on the market.
Absolutely.
Good luck
There's
putting
no
that on the
chance
market.
that's selling retail. There's no
Not
lender.
with a conventional buyer.
Hell no, bro. That's why that house needs to be wholesale. That's why a wholesale cash offer or, a creative deal is the way to go in that circumstance because you've got something unconventional and that unconventional situations require unconventional solutions.
Boom.
So this is a good question. I answered this in depth on my YouTube channel. Pace, how do you eventually pay off private loans that you got to cover the entry fee for an Airbnb that you bought subject to with seller finance? Okay, so what this means for anybody that's brand new is that if I go buy a house on seller finance, even if I get a 0 down, 0% seller finance deal, which I got one last week while we were in Vegas, I also got a Subto deal while Jamil and I were in Hakkasan, the nightclub. I signed the deal as TI was performing. Insane. I was like, Jamil looks at me and goes, do you believe this is your life? I was like, somebody's going to pinch me and I'm going to wake up. Anyway, so even if I get a 0 down, right? I don't have to give the seller down payment and I don't have to give the seller any interest. I still have to go buy furniture for that property, right? I still have to decorate it and get it ready for an Airbnb. So where does that money come from? Well, when you're balling out, you got cash.
Yep.
Right. But when you're brand new, you don't. And so what you do is you go to your uncle or your monkey's uncle and you say, hey, I need $20,000 to furnish this thing and get it up and going. And you borrow $20,000 from a private money lender. So the question is, how do I pay them off from an Airbnb? As of today, I'm going to tell you something very powerful. This is amazing for me. I buy a lot of deals, typically putting a house in my portfolio, at least one a week usually. And as of today, as of 2 weeks ago, actually, I have 0 private money lenders on any of my deals. The majority of the time that you're paying them off, you are paying them off from the cash flow. You have excess cash flow coming in from those Airbnbs that pay your private lenders off. That's number one. Number two, you can always refinance the property. Like I've got a property that has $400,000 in equity. I've owned it for 2 years. It went up in value for $200,000. I can refinance, pay off the lender, pay off the subject to loan or the seller finance note. Number three, I could sell the property, right? Like right now, I could sell dozens of my properties and have tons of equity that I get in cash, but I don't want to sell any properties right now. Even if the market crashed tomorrow, I would go back to this recording and hold steadfast that I don't want to sell these properties. I'm in the long game of holding properties. So, or when I first started in buying and holding properties, I would go get a wholesale deal, make 20 grand on it, and then pay the private money lender off on another deal and reinvest in my business, right? I mean, what the hell are you going to do when you're making $100,000 or $150,000 a month in wholesale fees? You know what I'm saying? Like you got to reinvest that money, buy title companies, pay off private money lenders. So
you're not
go,
supposed to buy a
Alfonso.
Lamborghini.
I don't know. I've wanted to buy a really nice car for a long time, but then I realized it was just because I don't know why I wanted a nice car. I enjoy the cars I drive right now. Should I get a Lamborghini? Would that be cool?
No.
So Alfonso, go to my YouTube channel, type in Pace Morby Private Lenders, and I have a whole 45-minute breakdown of a handful of deals that I've recently paid off and where the money came from that I paid them off with. Great question.
Love it. When
Ooh.
wholesaling a tenant-occupied property, what info do you need and what questions should you ask? Also, should you speak with the tenant? This is great.
Well, if you want to, would you mind putting that back up there? I just want to get the pieces there. So tenant occupied property. Here's first and foremost is going to start off with understand the lease. So you need to get the lease in hand. You need to know how long is the lease in place for? Are they month to month? How much are they paying? Are there any upgrades or any conditions in there that is it a lease to own? Is it a lease with an option? You better read the entirety of that lease because you could be getting yourself into a long-term marriage with this occupant. Secondly, you should communicate with the seller if it's okay for you to communicate with the tenant.
Right.
A lot of times sellers don't want their tenants to know what's happening until the deal is finally done. I know that's a terrible way to do it, but sellers don't typically want to have a vacant property. They don't want to, and sometimes sellers will sell a house at a discount just so they don't have to break the news that they're selling their property to their tenant. I can't tell you the hundreds, if not thousands of deals we've done where sellers have sold a house from underneath their occupant, and then we're left to deal with the bad news of letting that occupant know that the house has been sold and it's time for them to leave. So you absolutely need to confirm with your seller if it's okay for you to speak with the tenant. But yes, know the lease, get the lease in hand. It's a must. And then also, this is something that a lot of people forget about. Find out, are there any security deposits that are being held? Is there any money that needs to be conveyed at title for missed rent or security deposits or anything else that you might be on the hook for when the occupant leaves? Because let's just say the occupant's in the property, you close on it, and there was a $2,500 security deposit. Now the occupant's gone, and then a week later they ask you, Mr. Landlord, or previous landlord, I want my security deposit back, and you're saying, wait, I never got that from my seller. And now all of a sudden
you're not getting it from the seller.
You're not getting it from the seller because they are not going to answer your call at that point. I've never have I had a seller come back to the table and give me back the security deposits we forgot to get before closing. So those are the things that you need to pay attention to.
How long is the lease? And what's the relationship? What is the relationship right now between the landlord and the tenant? Are they family? Do they hate each other? Or is it just a random tenant that, was put into this property 15 years ago and the landlord's pretty much ignored everything wrong with the property, but hasn't raised the rent, right? This happens all the time. Guys, we buy a lot of deals from landlords, okay? That's like, I don't know, half the business, I would say. So, you have to be able to communicate effectively with that tenant and be the middleman, be that sweetheart, help them out, point them in the right direction. And if you get permission from the seller to have a conversation with them, go and tell them what's going on and see how you can help them transition. And just
this couldn't have been a better time. Thank you, Rylas Dana. By the way, I'm buying a house because of a lead you gave me 2 weeks ago. I'm buying a house tomorrow at 11:30. I appreciate that. I appreciate the lead. We love you here at Wholesale Hotline. Guys, if you're not following Rylas Dana, please do so. Rylas, put your stuff in the side chat. I've got a story about a deal that Jamil and I did. I'd say about a year, maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah, the sister.
Right. Yeah. Rylas Dana says, as a probate attorney, I have several clients that sell occupied properties for a discount. It saves the trust and the estate the time and the money. It's way easier for the stranger to kick out the brother. So he's right. And he's not just putting something in a side chat. There's stories and money that has been made behind what this guy's typing out. He sends a lead over to me, and Jamil and I have been doing deals together for years. And so I go, hey, Jamil, I've got a deal from Rylas, and I promised the seller, I got the seller under contract. So I got the house under contract. I worked out the terms of the seller, knowing Jamil could help me pull this off. And I said, hey, Jamil, I told the seller that she won't have to kick out her sister and her husband. I will be the bad guy. So let's go and do the deal together. Rylas, he notified his client that Rylas might get paid on the transaction. Rylas made money on the deal, not just as a probate attorney. He made money as being part of the transaction. I made money. Jamil made money. And then Jamil, you sold it to who? And what happened with the property?
I sold it to a very good buyer of ours at Keighley. Somebody that I personally know, one of my sticky buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And
stinky or sticky?
Jacob.
Yep.
Jacob has an attorney for his sister. So he was very confident that he was going to be able to handle an eviction.
Yep.
So he bought the property and then handed it over to his sister, who got the property vacant over the next 2.5 months. Then he fixed and flipped the property for, I believe, a $250,000 profit. So he
made a lot of money, but here's the best part of that story. Okay. So about 6 months ago, that seller ended up reaching out to me and asking about a listing agent, which I ended up referring her to a different listing agent than my wife because she was about to give birth. And I said, hey, how did it work out with your sister and your brother-in-law? She's like, oh my gosh, it was so great. I never had to be the bad guy once. It was like, now they went to Christmas and Thanksgiving and all those types of things. And she was never the bad guy. So guys, find a buyer, find somebody like a Keighley can help out and find those types of buyers that will take on those types of situations. Thank you, Rylas, for saying that.
Go ahead, Pace.
Really cool. What's that, Jamil?
No, go ahead.
Real quick one. Krista Hartman, guys, please pay attention to this question. It's a good one. And I have a great answer for you that I don't think we've ever talked about. We are working on a hard money loan for a deal we have in Asheville. Love it. I actually was praying to God that I was going to go to Asheville, North Carolina on my 30-day challenge. And unfortunately, God answered Robin's prayers. And I guess he answered mine too. My concern is we won't get the loan because we haven't had enough flips done in the last 5 years to get us the rates we need. So Krista, this is part of my Gator lending education I'm doing right now is there's people like me that will let you use my balance sheet and my flipping history. We flip 50 houses a year. So Krista, you know me, obviously, and you should be reaching out to me. Email molly@americahomeoffers.com. I will sponsor your loan. I will let you use my balance sheet, use my experience, use the money in my account, even my credit. I'll let you do all of that stuff, but we got to work out something where I make a part of the deal. So if you want that and you need a better rate, and it's worth it for me to become a small partner with you on the deal, send me an email, Molly, MOLLY, @americahomeoffers.com.
I saw a question on there that said, I haven't heard you guys talk a lot about 20, 30, 50 unit apartment buildings. Are those harder to wholesale? So I want to share with you guys a little something that happened. I'm in Vegas and John Galan the day before says to me, hey, Jamil, I got a 58 unit building here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's $13.5 million. Okay. Would you be interested in this? And I said, send me the address. I get the address. I look at the property and I'm like, this is a deal. I call my girl, Sophia. Mm-hmm. I say, Sophia, you want to buy a $13.5 million property with me? Mm-hmm. We look over the number. She says, I want it. We want it. I'm like, great. She says, get it under contract. Let's get it under contract. I'm like, perfect. I go back to John and I say, John, I would love to get this under contract. Let's write up a deal. John now says, okay, great. Goes back to the wholesalers and says, hey, we want to put this under contract. All of a sudden we need an NCND signed. Oh, what do you mean? Okay. Then we're saying, okay, hold on. So you're not direct. You don't have anything under contract. This is all fishy malarkey. Mm-hmm. Let's at least talk to the listing broker. Mm-hmm. So we set up a call for 7 a.m. Okay.
The listing broker.
Yes, with the listing broker while I'm in Las Vegas. Okay. After a long night the night before, my hotel room got robbed. Okay.
What?
I'll talk about that in a second. My hotel room gets robbed the night before. I wake up early to get on this call, and guess who's not on the phone? The broker. Mm-hmm. It's just a couple of wholesalers. Like it's that whole Scooby-Doo thing, right? Oh, you're not the buyer. You're not the seller. It was You want to know what my buyer did? You want to know what Sophia did?
Mm.
She hung up. She said,
Yeah.
I don't have time this morning to jerk people off. That's what she texted me. So guys,
oh my gosh, wow.
Yes, the reason why we don't do deals like that, because a lot of the times the wholesalers that are out there talking to these people, they aren't talking to the right people. Right. At that price point, those deals trade to small groups of people. I always say to you guys, work where there's legitimate contracts, where there's legitimate buyers doing legitimate business. And a lot of times these larger multifamilies that are in that 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million range, you're not dealing with the appropriate parties to make the deal work. John worked his butt off to try to make that happen. And unfortunately, everybody's time got wasted that morning. What can you do?
I have a student. Well, Pace and I both have a student that sent a video to us over the weekend, Prakash, and they did a deal on a apartment complex that made them almost $1 million because they called on a regular property, and the owners of that property actually owned a big apartment complex.
Wow.
And they had the numbers, they had everything figured out. That's how I see that happening. It's always that second question when you're calling somebody and they don't necessarily want to sell that property. They ask for, hey, do you have any other properties that you all would consider an offer on or would consider selling? And boom, $1 million. I mean, I've done a couple podcasts with those guys. They're phenomenal.
Amazing.
But yeah, I mean, I get, hey, do you have interest in this Scottsdale apartment complex? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it's nothing. It's smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Actually, John, I'm not going to say anymore, but anyways, John Galan he's a goat because he's still not giving up, and we might still actually do this deal.
All right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Good question. I think.
All right, we got to ring this call for Roger. Heidi's going to get pissed.
Do it.
Roger, here we go, bud.
Hey, you go, Roger.
Okay, so Anrod20 says, I have a Subto deal that's going through probate. How can I lock the seller in before the probate if I'm paying for the probate? Okay, I think we should have a probate conversation. Maybe bring Rylas Dana back on here and do a whole probate live for an hour and a half. I think that would be super beneficial. I'll text Rylas and see if he can get on here. He was a great guest. Well, now we've doubled in size, so he'll get a lot of eyeballs on what he's doing as well. I have a Subto deal that has to go through probate. How can I lock the seller in? Okay, so here's the technical thing. You can't. If the property hasn't gone through probate and they haven't identified who the decision maker is and they haven't given authority to that person, then technically you can't lock them into anything. However, we still put them into a contract because I think it's important for them to psychologically commit to you, even though they have not legally committed to you. And so deals that I've done with Rylas, I'll pay for the probate. The deal will go through probate with actually a deal I bought from Brent. That's what I did. Brent wholesaled the deal to me. I, as the buyer, went and paid for the probate with Rylas. And I said, I'm good with whatever happens with the probate. That's part of being in business. And I had a contract with the seller. The seller said, I'm committed. I feel good with this. At any point, that seller could have gone to somebody else. I had no actual legal right to have them committed to me. The second they went through the probate and they were awarded the personal representative badge, then I went back and I got that contract amended or actually added an addendum to that contract stating, here's the new date, here's the new agreement, et cetera. It was just a one-pager. And so that's the only way you can do that if they have not been through probate yet, because they don't technically have the legal ability to sign a contract with you.
Mm-hmm. Good question. We'll get Rylas back on here.
Yeah, I think that'd be really good.
Yeah, that'd be great.
This happens all the time. This is great. By the way, this is a common problem people are running into. I see a lot of sellers want to send your contract to their attorney. I found sending them state-approved contracts are best, according to my friend. Here's what I found. Okay, I actually made an ebook about this where I talked to actual sellers about this problem. We had 5 objections that sellers were dealing with, and my students put me in front of those 5 sellers, and I overcame those objections. One of my ways of doing it, you're not going to like the answer, but here's the way. Because everybody in wholesale, when you're starting out, you're like, how do I do everything for free? How do I not do anything with any money? How do I, oh, you want me to drive down to the escrow company? How do I do that without any gas in my car? Like literally Everybody trying to get into wholesale has that frame of mind. They don't want to spend any money in their business until they make $5 million in wholesale fees. So you're not going to love this answer, but here's the right answer. When a seller comes to me and says, no problem, I'd love to have my attorney review the contract, I say, no problem. What's your attorney's email? Because I'd love to have my attorney attached to the email just in case they need to have a conversation about updating or adjusting the contract itself. Typically costs me about $100 to have to go through that, but that's the answer. Once I started integrating my attorney who drafted the documents, I no longer had sellers' attorneys coming back and trying to beat up my contract because now they knew they were going to have to battle with another attorney instead of just another real estate investor. I have not had that problem in years. Okay? Another one to do is one of my favorite houses. I did this on a couple years ago. My house on Maddox in Atlanta. Seller says, do you mind if I have my attorney look at the contract? I go, no. In fact, I prefer your attorney to draft the contract for us. Why don't we just start from that? Then that way, there's no reason for you to have any review. Just tell them to send us the contract that they already approve. And let's move forward with the terms that we've already agreed with. That's 2 ways to overcome that objection. Brent, do you have any way to overcome that objection?
Of using the state?
Oh, that maybe this, no, it's not. He's not technically talking about the state contract itself
Having
specifically. He's
review.
just saying in
Or having a
general.
lawyer review.
With an attorney? Oh, we 100% support that. We would love for your attorney to review this. We want you to be 100% confident moving forward so that we can get this done as smooth as possible. How fast can you get it over to them? And how fast can we get a response? I'd love to open up escrow right away. But what if we sign the contract and we write in there upon review from your attorney? That way we
That
can
one's
open up
that's
escrow.
a really good answer.
We can
Holy
open up
moly.
escrow and start the process. Yeah.
That's a great answer. I love that answer. That's a really good one.
What about this? What Yui says, would you just be able to have a workaround that said the estate of in the seller name?
No, because let's say you go to court, right? And you're fighting over this.
Yep.
What's the judge going to say?
It did. Who was the person who signed?
Yeah. And when did you sign? What was the date?
Yep. So it's still not legally enforceable, Yui, but great creative thought there.
Yeah. Joel really likes that answer, Brent. I like that answer too, Brent. That was phenomenal. I don't know that I've ever thought of that.
Listen, if people put pen to paper, like if you're physically there, something magical happens when you sign your name to something. It's for real. I actually have it on our lead sheets that we give out to the TTP students to sign the day that you wrote that lead so that you got as many pre-qual as many of the 4 pillars of pre-qual as possible. Condition of the property, timeline to sell, motivation, and price. And then you sign and date it at the bottom to know that you did your work right and you did it correct and you did it like to the best of your ability. So there's something magical. So I love going, hey, listen, why don't we do this? I know you want to pray about it. I know you want to think about it. I know you want to talk to your priest about it or your pastor. I know that you want to talk to your uncle or whatever else. Sign it. I'm going to take it home. You call me by 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12, 2 o'clock tomorrow, and I will get on a screenshot and we can FaceTime and I will tear up this contract if you say you don't want to do this deal. But at least we have it and I can open up escrow and we can get the process started. Is that fair enough? And then you move on. So there you go. Get the contract signed. Something magical happens when they sign the contract. Or you could say, hey, listen, why don't we both sign it? I'll leave it here. I'm going to be by at 9 a.m. tomorrow. If I come by and you don't want to do this deal, just let me know. You do that
this
too.
is actually a very valid thing to say. The Eskimo is, I find that they usually are bluffing when they ask for attorneys. That is very, very plausible. I like that a lot. And that is true. On my hoodie that you guys see, or like the long sleeve shirt that we started making, it says buyers are liars, sellers are worse. And it doesn't mean they're bad. They're not
Don't
bad
wear that
people.
on appointments.
No, I closed a seller. I closed a seller telling that to them on a live Zoom with my students. I said, one of my favorite sayings is buyers are liars and sellers are worse. How do you know I'm not lying? And how do I know you're not lying?
Great.
And we ended up closing the deal. It was great. So, but that is very true. It does happen. I think sometimes just calling their bluff or saying, we'd love to have your attorney do it. Let's draft it. I like Brent's answer. My answer typically weeds that out immediately when I say, no problem. What's your attorney's email address? I'll have my attorney and them send over the paperwork that we like to use. That one usually weeds that out immediately.
I love this. Steve, this is a situation people get into, and I want to talk about it because it talks a little bit about the ethics, how to communicate, how to work with realtors. Steven says, an agent believes I'm a buyer and I have a deal being worked at the moment with Keegley. How do I get into the conversation of wholesaling the rest of the deals that he's sending to me if he's uncomfortable with it? Well, first and foremost, Steven, you don't know if he's uncomfortable yet because you haven't gotten there yet. Right. So let's not create a story that doesn't exist. Remember, oftentimes what we think other people are thinking isn't what they're thinking. We're not mind readers. We're not psychic. Right. And so what realtors really want is for their deal to go through. They want to get paid. They want the commission. They want it to complete. So let's get across the finish line. If you truly feel, though, that this agent's going to have a massive problem with you reselling this property, do a double close. Okay. Pay the extra money and make it 2 escrow so that the agent is none the wiser that you sold the property. They're not entitled to even know the details of the second escrow. So it's not going to be something that's going to come up, and it shouldn't create any issues between you and your realtor moving forward. But I would have the honest conversation with the agent after you've completed a deal or two to say, look, I may choose as an exit strategy to wholesale my contract. We've done some business together now, and you've seen that I come through. The deals that we are in complete. I'm a legitimate investor. I do business. I have funding partners. I've got the capacity to bring liquid cash to these deals that we've been doing.
Yeah.
My tactics are probably something that you're not familiar with because it's not taught in realtor school, but it's a very, very old technique of closing deals. So now that we've done some business together, are you okay if I save some money and not have to actually take title every time I buy? And maybe I can just do this by assignment instead of double closing. Right. And you will not believe how awesome that conversation will go because you have brought proof to the pudding. You showed them that you can close. Now you're talking about doing more business with them and doing it in a way that might make you more money or possibly even them more money if you figure out how to incentivize that realtor to work with you as an investor agent at the same time. So I hope that helped.
Yeah. Do you want me to show you how I do this?
Yeah.
You want me to, you split the deals with Monique. Yes. You know what I mean? So if worst case scenario, you split the deals with them and they're totally excited. I mean, they get way more than they would from just a regular deal. So yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot there, but don't hallucinate that they're going to be uncomfortable with what wholesaling is or whatever. Yeah.
Brandon Mitchell says, I've told realtors my plan. They do not
they don't
care.
Yep.
They move on in the conversation as if they said, as I said, nothing.
Yep. Brandon, you're right. Yeah.
All right, cool. Man, what a great wholesale hotline today, huh?
So many amazing questions, so many wins, such energy coming from the summit. Great stuff, guys.
Okay,
and
so
Robin's getting 30 days with Paces and the whole Morbies,
bro.
In Tacoma.
Do you know how much pie you're gonna eat?
Oh, there's gonna be so much pie.
No, you're gonna come. You're gonna get so fat, Pace.
Yep. You're gonna get.
Pace is gonna
get peach pie,
apple pie, blueberry pie, all the pies, Pace. She's
probably a pot pie.
Save the pot pie for when I'm in town, Robin, because I like pot pie.
There might be a little bit of humble pie.
Ooh, some humble pie.
How about that?
Amazing.
There's a lot of pie.
There's a lot of pie.
Yeah.
This is a question I don't think we've ever had to answer. How does somebody decide on the difference in the mentorship? So I don't know if Brent and Jamil, I don't know if you guys ever get these videos. Jamil, I ran into one of your students at the summit this weekend, and he said, I just want to thank you. I reached out to you on Instagram, and I said, should I join Subto or Astro? And you immediately, without hesitation, said, join Astro. And he said, I joined Astro and I got my first deal in 3 weeks. And I just want to thank you for not pushing me to your course. And then I get another student, the two students that quit their jobs that sent you a video, Brent, they made $1 million on the multifamily.
Yep.
Same conversation. They reached out to me before they joined my mentorship and they said, what mentorship should I join? And I said, join TTP. If you even are questioning it, join TTP. All of us are going to be here no matter what decision you guys make.
That's right.
I'll be here in 6 months. I'll be here in 18 months. I'll be here in 5 years. So will Brent and so will Jamil.
Can I add to this?
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful thing. Pace always says that. But I want to, Josh, there's a concept called resonance. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what I mean when I say that is you vibrate a certain way. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you operate in the world is a way. And you will do better with somebody that you resonate with, right? And so you might resonate with Pace, you might resonate with Brent, you might resonate with myself. I would really look at who you resonate with, because you remember, you've got to spend time with this person. You've got to learn from this person. You've got to listen to their voice all the time. If being around them isn't fun for you, you're not going to learn. You're not going to do the work, right? So really pay attention to where do you find resonance, and that should point you in the right direction.
And there's plenty of content out there to figure that out.
100%.
You know what I mean? That there really is. There's a lot out there that it's an instinct. It's an instinct. You find somebody that really hits the parts of your brain that just makes sense instantly. That's who you go with.
And something that I've noticed happens as people get more and more progress in their business, they start doing multiple deals a month, they start making money, they end up joining all three because they can tap into the different communities. Astro students that love getting deals from guys who are cold calling all day love joining TTP because they connect with that giant network of cold callers out there, or texters, whatever they're doing to do lead generation, and so that they can help them move their deals. Astro students love joining Subto because when they're in Subto, they get to tap into that massive community and they can do business.
That's right.
Subto students love joining Astro and TTP for the same reasons. Guys, that's the power of communities, right? Because when you tap into one and it's a solid one, you've literally forget with the content of the course.
Yeah.
The thousands of people that are in those networks are what this is about.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing, because imagine all three of us as different college professors.
Yeah.
We're all different college professors, all in the same college, right? We're in the college of trying to get you guys all financially free.
Yep.
Jamil, will you spend any money on masterminds or education this year yourself?
At least $100,000.
Yep.
Brent Daniels, you getting into any rooms, spending any money?
Yep. $100,000.
Yeah, I don't know how much I'll spend, but it'll probably be upwards of $100,000 this year, getting into rooms and all of those types of things to build not just my real estate business, but other businesses. So it's network, it's access to faster, more organized information that I know I can go to the source and go, you've gone through this, just give me the answer. Because as good as YouTube is, for anybody watching this on YouTube or listening on podcasts, you'll know that a lot of the information that comes flying at you is not in sync. It's not in order. It's not chronological. It's not like do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. And so it gets to the point where it's really, really challenging. I would look at us as college professors, all in the college of financial freedom. And sometimes you're going to have to go to one more. You can't go to get a college degree by going to one professor. That's ultimately how I kind of look at it. Guys, I have something we've never done before. I don't know. Maybe we have.
Okay.
I have a DM in my Instagram that I have not answered because people ask me questions in my DMs that are so hella long that I can't answer them with one sentence, right? But I'm going to send this guy, his name's Madhu and Mode or France. And he says, I'm going to point him to this episode. He says, I have a house next to mine who's just listed on the market for sale. Can I start with that house?
No. I mean, you can, but I wouldn't.
Okay. But why? Let's go into that, because I have the same exact answer as you.
Well, there's a couple different things. It's on the market. So if it's on the market and it's reasonably priced, it's probably going to get several offers. So you're going to start this real estate journey competing against people that are going to be able to bid higher than you because they're going to be able to buy it with a conventional loan. You're going with a cash offer for a property that is on the MLS. Now, if you're able to have a connection with that neighbor, a connection with the agent, see what's going on, kind of look at what is happening with this deal. Are they getting offers? Is it something that's really popular? It depends on the area. It really does. But for the most part, when you have a property that's on the market, every buyer sees it instantly. Every buyer. Okay? So you're going to lock this thing up, and then you're going to send it out to all your buyers at a higher price. They're going to know what it was listed for. They're going to know what they want. And that's okay if it's at a discounted price and you get it at a discounted price. But the likelihood of that thing getting bid up is extreme. And it's your first deal, and you're dealing with a real estate agent.
I mean, I'm going to take a contrarian approach to your guys' answers because I still believe that there's opportunities on the, we do 10-ish deals a month in my corporate stores on market properties, right? Newly listed properties or houses that have been on the market for some time that are ready for a real offer.
These are people that are trained.
These are people that are trained. And I'm not going to assume.
They've probably done some deals before?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of them not.
Okay.
Some of them not. Sometimes, look, I've had multiple first deals from Astro students when chasing an on-market MLS opportunity, right? But the trick here is don't go out gunslinging, okay? Yosemite Sam, it's not time for Yosemite Sam. It's time for underwriting. It's time for understanding value. So before you go out there and try to chase down an opportunity, see if there's an actual opportunity available. Now, if you learn how to comp and you're like, bro, this is a deal, call the listing agent directly and see if they'd be open to representing you as well. You're incentivizing the realtor to work with you and the seller. That doubles the realtor's commission. So now all of a sudden they're highly incentivized to work with you. And that can help. That can help a lot of times keeping a realtor from allowing a property to get bid up. Sometimes they'll talk to a seller and say, I think this offer is a great offer. Whatever that is, when you work in a dual agency situations, you absolutely stack your potential of getting a deal done. So my answer is a little bit different from the two of yours. But
I would also see if the condition of the property needs some love.
Yeah, if it's
remodeled.
Yeah, if it's a remodeled house, it's not an opportunity. Remember, we trade in potential, guys. We trade in potential. If there's no potential to be gained, there's no deal to be made.
And if it is in rough shape, call that agent and try to get on there, be their buyer so that they can keep more commissions if it's in rough shape.
Correct.
But I assume he lives in a nice area. I assume he's got a nice neighbor. I assume it's a nice, it's on the market. They cleaned it up. They got it looking good. But if not, yeah, go for it.
Guys, I have a phone call with a seller that I just missed for Sarah Miller in Astro Flipping.
All right, do your thing, brother.
I want to challenge something out here for my sub-2 students. How dare you let an Astro student reach out to me to do a deal? If you are not networking with Astro students, shame on you. You guys have a superpower.
We need to do a joint Zoom, Pace. We have to make it easy for people to connect.
No offense. I get way more pride in watching my students do deals with TTP and Astro students than I do deals with other like TTP and Astro students. I want to see you guys doing deals together. But you guys got people reaching out to me because you guys aren't working hard enough. You're not networking with Astro and TTP. You need to get your asses in gear. I've got a deal I'm going to make probably $50,000 on because you guys aren't working hard enough. Go get your shit done. Use your superpower and go leverage and go build these relationships. Jamil, you and I do need to do that. And guys, let's freaking give Sarah Miller some good luck. Cross our fingers.
Come on, Sarah, we got you.
I'm going to jump on a seller call right now and try and lock up her deal.
Guys, Wholesale Hotline 115. It's been a blast.
Join me Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you did not get your questions answered, there's a lot of questions. Join me. We're going to be talking about lead follow-up. Lead follow-up. I am telling you, my acquisition manager, Ryan, is coming on. He's averaging $51,000 assignment average. You do not want to miss it. 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Compin?
Sunday. Sunday.
Guys, look at our Instagram stories for updates on the upcoming week. We've got Boise on Monday, Austin on Wednesday, Houston on Thursday, and Dallas on Friday. And you're going to DM me and you're going to say what time and where. And the answer is, I don't know yet. You got to stay on the stories. We know the dates, but we don't know where and what time yet. So just stay tuned. We will post those in the stories. We'll send out emails. We'll do all the things, guys. We look forward to it. Have a freaking amazing week. Bye-bye.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say that thing.